everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about direct variation functions. So in the last video, we talked about linear equations. Direct variation is actually just a modification of a linear function. So a linear function was y equals mx plus b. A direct variation function, that b is 0. So really the way that we'd write this out is y equals mx, or as you will see it, y equals kx, because k would be the constant of variation. So our general equation here, as you will see it, is going to be y equals kx, but k is exactly the same thing as your slope, which we call in direct variation the constant of variation. So as you might guess then, if this is exactly like a linear equation, it's just a special version of it, you might guess that the graph is a straight line. And if you guess that, you're right, it is a straight line. There is only one thing specific about a direct variation. The direct variation will always go through the origin. So it could be positive. It could be negative. Or it could be horizontal. All of those would be direct variation functions. The only thing that you must keep in mind is that a direct variation function will go through the origin. The direct variation function will go through the origin every single time. Now, what that means for our features is that our x and, maybe I should capitalize that, and y-intercept are 0, 0. The x and y-intercept of this function is 0, 0. It goes through the origin no matter what. So you don't have to solve for an x and y-intercept. Or if you are solving for it and you get 0, 0, you know that it's a direct variation. So it still has one x-intercept and one y-intercept. It just happens to be the same thing. Now, the domain of the function is exactly the same as a linear function. That domain is still going to be all real numbers. So in interval notation, that means negative infinity to infinity. This is interval notation saying negative infinity to infinity, meaning all real numbers. That's what that means. Is that there's no restriction on the input that you can use. You can put anything that you want. Now our range is also all real numbers, meaning that your outputs, there's no restriction on them. So negative infinity to infinity. So direct variation functions, they are a special version of a linear function. The difference between a linear and a direct variation is that a direct variation goes through the origin. But if you have a direct variation and you name it a linear, you're not incorrect. It is a linear function.